everybody, welcome back to Journey with Jackie. As you can tell, I'm feeling good. I did not have COVID, thank God. I did have my test. It came back negative. Thank you guys so much for your love and your prayers. I really appreciate it. I am so excited to be in front of you again today. And if you're watching me for the very first time, welcome to Journey with Jackie. It's all about lifestyle, luxury for less is what I love to share with you. And thank you for watching, and let's get started. I am sharing with you today I guess you would say my like holy grail things for like the last 2 months where I use, eat, live by every day that I love it. And I thought, let's just take this journey together, and I'm just going to share with you what those, I guess, like 11 things are. And so anyway, so let's get right to it. So I have some beauty, some luxury, some food, some snacks, and some smell good stuff. Okay, so here's the first thing. I'm going to share with you my very first thing, which is, let me just start with how I start off in my morning, and that is what I drink. So if I'm not drinking my smoothies, which you guys already know, then if I have to do something at home else, then what I'm doing is making my own coffee drinks. And my latest drink that I'm still loving is the Trader Joe's Coffee Concentrate Cold Brew. And then I mix it with my oat milk, which you guys know I still love oat milk. And so far, this is like the best brand between this and the Planet. And I forgot the other one that I really like with the nice curve bottle. I forgot what that one is. You guys probably know which one I'm talking about. I love both of those brands, but the Planet is my favorite. And mixing it with this cold brew and the oat milk is just like so nice and smooth. I already eat these things too much. My nutrition glow drops, right? Well, here is something else that I added that tastes so good. Okay, so here is for hydration. And my newest thing I added, my husband really bought these for himself. Big mistake. He bought these vitamin D gummies, and can I say OMG, taste so good. They taste like you're eating the gummy bears. That's exactly what they taste like. And I said to him the other day, how many are you supposed to take a day? He said 2. I'm like, I've gone back to one that I've gotten like about 6 months ago, and that is the new Celine fragrance black tie. Can you see? Yeah. Black tie. I'm really liking this one. I haven't worn it in a couple of months because I've been buying like new things or just pulling out some things that I haven't worn in a while. And I actually wore it a couple times over the last couple of weeks, and I actually love it. I actually wore it again today. So if you haven't gotten a chance to buy or try Celine, definitely check them out. My only thing is, I know when I bought this, the only place you actually could find it is at Celine boutiques themselves. Another beauty that I'm going to share with you is my latest Chanel moisturizer tint foundation. It is super light, and here is the bottle. They're calling it Le Beiges Beauty Tint Water Fresh Tint, and I'll link below the color. Oh, this color is called Deep, and I actually have it on now. I actually put it on this little bit this morning for you. You don't need a lot. And it's really, it really is. It's very thin. I actually forget that I actually have it on. It's super light. It's definitely like a water base, so it's not going to give you a lot of coverage. It's just going to basically make you feel like you put on a little something without putting on something, if that makes sense. So I definitely say this to stand up to it. And obviously I've been wearing this for like a good month, and I have not had any breakout problems. Well, due to this, I haven't, I know. And it doesn't irritate me. It doesn't make me shine. Doesn't make me itch. It doesn't break me out. So, and because I know sometimes Chanel puts like too much fragrance in their beauty things for me. Sometimes that's why I don't really use a lot of them. But this one, no. I had to think. No, I don't. If I smell anything, it's like a very faint smell. Like, what? She didn't mention one of these yet. Okay, I did it again. I think I told you I had ordered it. My favorite luxury without being luxury high-end on the price treat to myself. And I actually got the third one. And I'm going to open it with you. I have not opened it and seen it in person yet. I thought I'm going to wait with you. Remind you, here is the box. Yay! All right. It's just those little things that make us so happy. Oh, what they little, oh, a little thank you note. That's so cute. More packaging. Packaging is off the chain. I love their packaging. Yay! I got a black one. So it is my new black iPhone case with my initials on it, of course. And so you guys know I have the light gray, which I put up now until the spring. I'm currently using the caramel color, and now I have black, because I actually never had a black one since I got rid of the Chanel one. So I've been so happy with this brand that I haven't even looked for another Chanel case. I'm loving this brand, and for the price, I'm extremely happy. So I got another one. Highly recommend them. And then here is my go-to, and I think I mentioned this on my last video, my go-to luxury bag that I've been carrying quite a bit. You guys know I'm just back to carrying all crossbodies, and that is, I've been definitely carrying my Evelyn E-tote crossbody quite a bit, only because it's just a nice addition. If no matter what color I'm wearing, if I'm wearing black, if I'm wearing blue, if I'm wearing like what I have on today, is why I carried this today. But I just think it's like a nice, perfect color addition, and so it's color, purpose, functionality, and luxury, like all into one. And so I just love this a lot. So if you're thinking about it, and then this one is the medium. Yes, the medium, because the biggest one after this one is the GM. But if you have any questions about it, definitely give me a comment below. My go-to outfit style over the last month that I'm really loving is basically, I know we all have been wearing like tons of like sweatpants, right? So these are a pair that I got from Zara, which I showed you in the past, so the little tan ones. The ones that I have on today are the version that I got last year. So my go-to look has been basically wearing my cargo type of sweatpants, any type of sweater or sweatshirt, but my thing is I've been adding a long tunic underneath. So today, this is like probably the shortest version that I actually wore. Lately I've been wearing them like much longer, but because I had on this like shorter sweater and it was like more of a crop and more of a fitted, I thought this length was more appropriate. And then I wore this the other day, which I love this outfit. It was so comfortable. It's actually the Free People sweatshirt with the big bell sleeves. I'll link it below, and it comes like in 4 other colors. I'm definitely gonna buy this in some other colors. I was just trying to figure out what other colors. It comes in 4, but it's nice, big, oversized with the nice big dome sleeves. I will tell you, the size that I have on is size small, so it definitely runs big. So I probably would size down 1, unless you want it super big, like the sleeves would be like much longer. And just to kind of gauge, I'm 5'6", if that helps you, and the sleeves were like perfect. That's kind of been a style that I've been wearing for like the last like 3 to 4 weeks, and I'm like loving it. So I'm going like, oh, I could wear it with black, I could wear it with the cream, basically elevating a sweatsuit if you want to take it up a notch and not just wear, you know, how we normally would wear it. And then I've been wearing my leather jackets. I know it's been freezing, but when you're doing a lot of layers and things like that, it's just easier to wear your leather jackets more comfortably, especially if you're getting in and out of the car. It's just easier for me. And so I don't know what number I am. I think I'm like on number 9. Number 9 would be my leather jacket, and I'm gonna say this one in particular, reason why I'm bringing it out is because it's the navy blue that I got a couple years ago from Ralph Lauren. Yes. Yeah, from Polo, Ralph Lauren. And I got the navy blue. I do have them in other colors, which I wear a lot more, but I'm forcing myself to like not gravitate towards the green and the black all the time. And I've been wearing the blue a lot more lately, and I absolutely love it. I've been wearing it with black. I've been wearing it with cream. And as you can see, I wore it today, and it was like perfect. And I just had on my little brown YSL boots, and then this was my outfit for today. And it's just, you know, just elevating our look and not wearing the go-to colors that is easy for us to grab, you know, like the black, which would have normally would be an easy one to do. I just wore it with the blue and it was absolutely perfect. And so I've definitely been loving wearing the blue and black. I even wore it like when I wore my my camouflage blue black sweatpants. I wore this with the black sweater, and I'm telling you guys, like 2 years ago, you probably know, yeah, 2 years ago, you would not have seen me wearing blue and black together. I know it always looks beautiful when I see it like on mannequins, when I see other people wear it, I'm like, oh, it looks so nice. But when I would go to get dressed, it would feel like off for me for some reason. And just because I'm so like monotone when I like to do that look. But I will say over the last month or so, I've definitely been wearing the blue and black combination a lot more, and I love it a lot. You know, like, what took me so long? I was telling my hairstylist the other day, and I'm like, oh, you like my hair, by the way? I could not curl it like this. But I was telling her the other day, my style really hasn't changed a lot. It's just elevated more uniquely. That's more of me, I guess you would say. My favorite shoe that I've been wearing quite a bit lately, I have to force myself to stop wearing this one, speaking of wearing stuff too much. That is my new Zara boots. Can I say I love these things? And for I think it were $129. OMG. You know, yes, I know they look like the Bottegas, but I didn't buy them because of that. I just bought them because they look like they were really nice quality leather. They fit good. What is it with the Zara line out the door? I'm like, it doesn't even matter. You could be like the first one when they open. You could be there like when they first open, and then the line right away is like down to the end of the door to try it again. And it doesn't matter what time of the day. I don't know what it is. Can somebody please tell me why the Zara line is so long, and then the store is not crowded? So that's the other thing that kind of like boggles my mind. Anybody can answer the question? But anyway, so I really make sure that if I'm getting something from Zara, that is something I really, really want, and I'm pretty sure that it's going to fit me well, because I just don't want to be bothered with that whole Zara return line. Okay. So let's see. Oh, okay. Now I'm going to switch to a snack. And I know I have talked about this one before too, but I'm still loving it. And that is when you need like that little in-between snack and you don't want to eat junk food, but you don't have time to stop, but you need something to hold you over and you don't want to feel guilty for eating something you shouldn't eat, then I still recommend the Frooze Balls. They're like protein balls. OMG. They come in peanut butter and jelly and then the chocolate Nutella. I buy them both. It'll fill you up. It is so daggone good. I love them. Oh, did I say where I got these from? Trader Joe's. Can't go wrong. Trader Joe's is like on the money lately. Okay, I think, am I down to one more thing, you guys? I think I'm down to my last thing. And that is my thing that I use every day when I get in and out of the car, and that is my sanitizer spray. I know I gave a couple of these away during the month of December for the giveaway, and for you guys who did win those, definitely leave me a comment on how much, if you're liking or not liking those sanitizer spray. I would love for people to know the feedback about them. But I buy the Unscented by Touchland. I did buy the aloe, and I didn't really like it for myself. So if you're looking for more, they have like 6 different scents, but I thought the aloe was like gonna smell like, I don't know, like natural or like a plant, or I don't know, but it gave off more of a cologne scent. And so I actually just gave it to my husband. I knew he would like it. He likes those type of scents, so, and he likes it. But the cool thing is just great. In and out of the car, you spray it as soon as you get back in. It's like perfect. You don't have to rub, and it dries immediately. I absolutely love this. I think that's it, you guys. I just can't thank you enough. And if you have not subscribed, please make sure you do it before you leave me today. These are my holy grail items that yeah, I'm really enjoying, and I've really enjoyed sharing them with you. I'm hoping that you like some of them, and if you're gonna try them, and if you're considering any of them and you want more information, definitely shoot me the question below. I would love to answer that question for you. You guys know I just love sharing anything I can possibly can, because once again, if I could save you time, heartache, and money, that's what this channel is all about. So I cannot thank you guys enough for tuning in, for watching another one of my videos. Thank you for taking this journey with me. And if you haven't subscribed or joined my Instagram family as well, make sure you do that as well at JourneywithJackie _. The only difference is the underscore at the end, but the channel name is the same. So anyway, I thank you guys so much. I love you. Thank you. Have a wonderful few days, and I cannot wait to see you guys really soon. See ya.